Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we are going to look at how to graph linear inequalities and find the wanted region. Consider an inequality below. This is 2y plus 6x is greater than 12. We need to know the steps that we must follow to find the wanted region. Step number 1. Make y the subject of the inequality. So this is 2y is greater than 12 minus 6x. We divide both sides by 2, and this is y is greater than, what is 12 divided by 2? That is 6, minus, what is 6 divided by 2? This is 3, multiplied by x, that is 3x. Step number 2. Find the boundary line by replacing the inequality symbol with equal signs. So this is boundary line equation. We substitute equal signs in the position of the inequality symbol, and this is y is equal to 6 minus 3x. Is that okay? Now we need to get the intercepts. So when x is 0, what is the value of y? We shall substitute a 0 in our boundary line equation, and we have y is equal to 6 minus 3 into 0. So this is y is equal to 6, implying that when x is 0, y is 6. 2. We need to get the value of x when y is 0, implying that we shall substitute a 0 in boundary line equation. So this is 0 is equal to 6 minus 3x. We solve for x. So this is 3x is equal to 6. We divide by 3 on both sides, and we shall have x is equal to, by 3, 1 by 3, that is a 2. Implying that when y is 0, the x value is 2, and the second plotting value is 2 along x and 0 along y. Step number 3. Draw a solid line if the inequality is less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. This is a solid line. But in case the inequality is represented by less than or greater than, comma, the boundary line must be dotted. Is that okay? So let us draw our x and y axis. That is the y axis, and this is the x axis. Make sure that you label them. So this is y and this is x. This is 0 along x and 0 along y. So from x we move to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 0 we move to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 0 along x and 6 along y. This is 0 along x and 6 along y. Then 2 along x and 0 along y. 2 along x and 0 along y. We draw our boundary line. But don't forget that we said if the inequality is represented by less than or greater than, the boundary line must be dotted, implying that we are going to segment our boundary line. So this is the line y is equal to 6 minus 3x. From the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region y is greater than 6 minus 3x. And from the boundary line towards the left, this is the region y is less than 6 minus 3x. But in the question they are telling us that the required region is y is greater than 6 minus 3x. So the region y is less than 6 minus 3x is supposed to be removed. And this is the required region. Are we following? Example number 1. Example number 1. Shade the unwanted regions. The first inequality is x is greater than 3. They are telling us to shade the unwanted region, but we earlier said that we need to first obtain the boundary line equation. Is that okay? And this is x is equal to 3. We draw our x and y axis. That is y axis, and this is x axis. Make sure that you label them. This is y, this is x, this is a point 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 1, 2. This is the point x is equal to 3, and therefore our boundary line must pass through x is equal to 3. Note that we said that if the inequality symbol is greater than or less than, the boundary line must be dotted or segmented. Therefore, we segment our boundary line too, and this is x is equal to 3. Now from the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region represented by x is greater than 3, and from the boundary line towards the left, this is the region represented by x is less than 3. Is that okay? Don't forget that they told us shade the unwanted regions. Therefore, this is the unwanted region, and we shade it out. This is the required region. Example number 2. X is either greater than or equal to -1. So we need to get the boundary line equation, and this is x is equal to -1. We draw our x and y axis. This is x-axis and this is y-axis. This is 0, -1, -2. This is 1, 2, 3. This is 1 and 2. Remember, the equation is x is equal to -1, and this is the point. So we draw a vertical line through x is equal to -1. We label it. This is x is equal to -1. And from the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region represented by x is greater than -1. And from the boundary line towards the left, this is the region represented by x is less than -1. In case those are the values of -2, -3, -4, and other values. But they are telling us shade the unwanted region. In the question, they are telling us that the wanted region is x is either greater than or equal to. So the region x is less than -1 is going to be eliminated, and this is the required region. Are we following? Roman numeral 3. The required region is x is between -1 and 3, but -1 is inclusive, implying that this one can be broken into 2 regions. The first region is x is greater than or equal to -1, and then x is less than 3. So we need to get the first boundary line equation, and that is x is equal to -1. The second boundary line equation, this is x is equal to 3. We draw our x and y axis. That is y axis. This is x axis. So we label them. This is y, this is x, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is -1, -2, and -3. This is 1, 2. Is that okay? Now the first boundary line is x is equal to -1. This is the point x is equal to 1. So the boundary line will go through x is equal to -1. So this is x is equal to -1. Now, from the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region x is greater than -1. And from the boundary line towards the left, this is the region represented by x is less than -1. But in the question, they are saying that the required region is x is either greater than or equal to -1. Therefore, the region x is less than -1 is not required, and we shade it out. The second boundary line is passing through x is equal to 3. So we draw it like that, but the inequality symbol is less than, implying that the boundary line is supposed to be segmented. So we segment it, or we dot it like that, and this is x is equal to 3. From the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region represented by x is greater than 3, and from the boundary line towards the left hand side, this is the region represented by x is less than 3. In the question, they are telling us that the possible values of x are less than 3, implying that the region x is greater than 3 is not required, and we shade it out. Therefore, this is the required in region. Roman numeral 3. Roman numeral 4. Y is less than 3. So we need to get the boundary line equation, and this is y is equal to 3. This is y-axis, and this is x-axis. Make sure that always you label the axis. So this is 0, 1, 2. This is 1, 2, and this is -1, -2. This is the point y is equal to 3, implying that the boundary line is going to go through y is equal to what? 3. In the question, the boundary line is represented by a less than sign, implying that it's supposed to be segmented, and this is y is equal to 3. From the boundary line moving upwards, these are the values of y greater than 3, for example 4, 5, 6. And from the boundary line moving down, these are the values of y less than 3, for example 2, 1, 0, -1, and other values. In the question, they are telling us that the required region is y is less than 3, implying that the region y is greater than 3 is not required, and we shade it out. So this is the required in region. Roman numeral 5. Y is greater than or equal to -3. We draw our x and y axis. This is x is equal to 0, which is the y-axis, and this is y is equal to 0, which is the x-axis. So from 0 we go to 1 and the 2. So from 0 we go to 1, 2. From 0 we go to -1, -2, -3, -4. Now, the boundary line equation is represented by y is equal to -3, implying that this is the point y is equal to -3. So the boundary line is going to go through y is equal to -3. From the boundary line moving upwards, these are the values of y greater than -3, and from the boundary line moving downwards, these are the values of y less than -3. But in the question, they are telling us that the required region is y is either greater than or equal to -3. Therefore, the region represented by y is less than -3 is supposed to be shaded out. Roman numeral 6. Y is between -2 and 2, but -2 is inclusive. What does that mean? We have two regions. The first region is y is greater than or equal to -2, and the second region is y is less than 2. So the first boundary line equation is y is equal to -2, and the second boundary line equation is given by y is equal to 2. We draw our x and y axis. That is y, and this is x. This is what our y-axis, which is x is equal to 0, and this is our x-axis, which is y is equal to what? 0. Now this is 0, 1, 2. From 0 we go to -1, -2, -3. So we have a point y is equal to -2, and this is the point. We draw the boundary line. It is solid in nature because it is represented by greater than or equal signs. Now, from the boundary line moving upwards, this is the region, y is greater than -2. And from the boundary line moving downwards, this is the region represented by y is less than -2. But in the question, they are telling us that y is always greater than or equal to -2. Therefore, we shade out the region y is less than -2. The second boundary line passes through y is equal to 2. But this one is dotted in nature because the inequality symbol is just less than. So we segment it. So this is y is equal to 2. Now, from the boundary line moving upwards, this is the values of y greater than 2. And from the boundary line moving downwards, these are values of y less than 2. But in the question, they are telling us that the required region is y is less than 2. So we shade out the region y is greater than 2. And this is the required region. Example number 2. Example number 2, Roman numeral 1. Represent the inequality graphically. So this is 2y plus 4x is either less than or equal to a 12. Remember, the first step is make y the subject, and this is 2y is either less than or equal to 12 minus 4x. We divide both sides by 2. So this is y is either less than or equal to, what is 12 divided by 2? This is 6, minus, what is 4 divided by 2? This is 2 multiplied with x, this is 2x. Let's find the boundary line equation. And we say that it is obtained by replacing the inequality signs with the equal signs. And this is y is equal to 6 minus 2x. We need to get the intercepts. So this is x and y. So when x is 0, what is the value of y? We shall substitute the 0 into the equation. Y is equal to 6 minus 2x. So this is y is equal to 6 minus 2 times 0. So y is equal to 6, implying that the first intercept occurs at 0, 6. Now we need to get the value of x when y is 0. So this is 0 is equal to 6 minus 2 multiplied by x. We need to solve for x, and this is 2x is equal to 6. So 2x is equal to 6. We divide by 2 on both sides. So we shall have x is equal to 3. So the second intercept occurs when x is 3 and y is equal to 0. Are we following? We draw the x and y axis. So this is y-axis and this is x-axis. From 0 we go to 1, 2, 3, and 4. From 0 we go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that okay? Now the first intercept occurs at x is equal to 0 and y is equal to 6. The second intercept occurs at x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 0. Now, since the symbol of the inequality is either less than or equal to, implying that the boundary line is going to be solid, like that. So we label it, this is y is equal to 6 minus 2x. Now from the boundary line towards the right hand side, this is the region represented by y is greater than 6 minus 2x, and from the boundary line towards the left hand side, this is the region y is less than 6 minus 2x. Don't forget that they want us to locate the region y is less than or equal to 6 minus 2x, implying that the region y is greater than 6 minus 2x is not required, and we shade it out. So this is the required in region. Are we following? Roman numeral 2. Roman numeral 2, we have inequality y minus x is less than 8. So we make y the subject, that is y is less than x plus 8. We need to get the boundary line equation, and we say that we are going to say that this is y is equal to x plus 8. We need to get the intercept. So when x is 0, we get the value of y by substituting a 0 into y is equal to x plus 8, implying that the y value is 8. So this is 0 along x and 8 along y. 2, we need to get the value of x when y is 0. So we substitute a 0 there, and this is equal to x plus 8. We solve for x, and that is negative 8 is equal to x, implying that when x is negative 8, y is equal to 0. We draw our x and y axis. So this is y and this is x. This is negative 2, negative 4, negative 6, negative 8, and negative 10. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. The first intercept is 0, 8, 0 along x and 8 along y. Then the second intercept occurs at negative 8 and a 0. So we draw our boundary line like that. Remember, the inequality represented is y is less than x plus 8, meaning that this boundary line must be segmented like that. This is the region y is greater than 8 plus x, and this is the region represented by y is less than x plus 8. Remember, in the question they are telling us that the required region is y less than x plus 8, implying that the region represented by y is greater than x plus 8 is supposed to be shaded